What's up guys, I'm the Ultimate Fighting Consultant, and today we got our quick picks for UFC 312. Quick recap on last week. We ended up with almost 2 units in net profit. So if you were betting $100 a unit, you'd be up about $196. Our underdog of the week, Fares Ziam, cashed, and we're now up 8.12 units since we started this channel. So if you'd like access to all my official bets, hit that link down below and use code VIP for 50% off the monthly price. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get right to the picks. Opening up the card, we got Hyunsung taking on Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. Now both of these guys are finishers. 15 out of their 18 combined fights has ended inside the distance. The difference here is Hyunsung Park takes his time, lets the finish come to him. Jargal on the other hand, he tends to go for it, tends to chase it a bit, and the problem with that is if you don't get it, you either end up making a mistake or you end up gassing out. So I'm back in the favorite here. Give me Hyunsung to open up the card with a win. Next up, we got Quillan Salkilld taking on Anshul Jubli. Now Jubli's last fight, he didn't look too bad. He actually looked pretty good at some points. But he did gas out in the later rounds and ended up getting finished. It's also been a year and a half since then, so he hasn't been very active in the meantime. Salkilld, on the other hand, Australian making his debut. He's on a 7-fight win streak, 5 of them by finish, and it's hard not to back him here. I'm expecting him to go out there, push the pace, mix in the takedowns, and get the win. Give me Quillan Salkilld. Next up, we got Jonathan Micallef taking on Kevin Jousset, and I bet against Jousset in his last fight against Battle, but I'm actually going to pick him here. I think if he gets this fight to the ground, he's going to get the win, and I think especially coming off a knockout loss, that's exactly what he's going to be looking to do. He's also in enemy territory, so do you really think he cares if he makes this fight boring? I think not. That should be the game plan going in, and I'm expecting him to execute it. Give me Kevin Jousset. Next up, we got Zhu Rong taking on Cody Steele. Now Cody Steele, he's undefeated making his UFC debut on a 4-fight knockout winning streak. Zhu Rong, on the other hand, he's a good striker, but he's coming off a doctor stoppage loss to Chris Padilla. I'm going to take my chances with the newcomer here, Cody Steele. He has nasty striking, he hits hard, he has good kicks, and he should be the better grappler in this matchup. I think he has more ways to win, so give me Cody Steele as the pick. Next up, we got Colby Thicknesse taking on Aleksandre Topuria. And if you go look at Aleksandre's highlights, he fights almost identical to his brother Ilia Topuria. So it's hard not to take him here. He trained BJJ before transitioning into MMA, so he has very good grappling. And his boxing is pretty sharp in itself. If this fight goes to the ground, it shouldn't even be close. And he should be the better striker on the feet, so how can you pick against him? Give me Aleksandre Topuria as the pick. Next up, we got Wang taking on Bruna Brasil, and I'm so shocked that Wang is such a big favorite here because she was a pretty big favorite her last fight out and she kind of got exposed. We're in a similar situation here, and let me tell you, she has no right being a minus 450 favorite here against the grappler who especially trains out of fighting nerds. And let me remind you, Bruna Brasil, she's coming off a pretty impressive win over Molly McCann. She showed lots of improvements in her game, and I'm backing her here. So with that being said, give me the big underdog. Give me Bruna Brasil to get the upset win here. Next up, we got Nolan taking on Slaviklaus. And yeah, Vlacheslav did kind of get his ass beat against Chase Hooper, but Chase Hooper's evolved into a solid prospect. I don't really see shame in that. He's coming off a decision win over James Yantop. Nolan, on the other hand, he's a good striker. He's 6'3", tall for the weight class. Now, we've seen Slaviklaus struggle with grapplers, but when it's a striking battle, he's tough to beat. I don't see this fight hitting the ground. I think they both want to strike, and I think Borschev is the better striker. Give me Slaviklaus to get the win here. And for our featured prelim, we got Jack Jenkins taking on Gabriel Santos, and it's hard not to take Jack Jenkins as the underdog here in Australia. Jack Jenkins has solid striking, solid grappling, more UFC experience, and this fight should be pretty close. And when that's the case, it's best to side with the underdog. Give me Jack Jenkins as the pick here. Opening up the main card, we got Jake Matthews taking on Francisco Prado. And the experience gap in this one is huge. Jake Matthews has 20 fights in the UFC, and he's only 30. Prado, on the other hand, only has 3 fights in the UFC, and he's lost 2 of them. Now, Matthews is a very good grappler. If he gets this fight to the ground, it shouldn't even be close. He's also shown glimpses of his striking. He's also the hometown favorite. It's hard not to pick him here. I'm surprised he's not a bigger favorite. Give me Jake Matthews as the pick. Next up, we got Jimmy Crute taking on Rodolfo Bellato. Now, Jimmy Crute's record isn't all that impressive as of lately. The last time he's won is October of 2020. He's gotten subbed by Alonzo Menfield, lost by knockout to Jamal Hill, and lost by doctor stoppage to Anthony Smith. Rodolfo, on the other hand, the guy's a finisher. 11 out of his 12 wins come by finish. He's on a 2-fight knockout win streak. And when you got a guy that's been getting finished and a guy that's been getting finishes, and the odds are almost flip him, it's hard not to take the finisher. Give me the Rodolfo Bellato as the pick. Next up, we got Justin Tafa taking on Thaleson Teixeira, and this is a tough one to predict because both of these guys go for knockouts, they overswing, leaving openings, and they get gassed out pretty easily. But we got to make a pick, so I'm going to go with the 6'7 newcomer, Thaleson Teixeira. I think this fight can look a lot like his Contender Series knockout win over Arthur Lopez. You know, both guys just swinging recklessly, which does make it pretty hard to predict. But Teixeira has three things going for himself. He's younger, he comes from a kickboxing background, so he has the kicks, and he's also 7 inches taller. So I'm going to lean towards Teixeira here. Give me Teixeira as the pick. And for our co-main event, we got Zhang Weili taking on the undefeated Tatiana Suarez. And everyone seems to be picking Tatiana because, quote-unquote, she's the best women's wrestler and she beat Carla Esparza and Alexa Grasso 7 years ago. Well, the truth is she hasn't fought since 2023. And you know how that goes. If she gasses out, everyone's going to be making excuses for her. So I'm going to be siding with Zhang Weili, who's been doing this. She hasn't taken no breaks, beaten the best of the best. Are we forgetting about that? She's going to be the better striker here. And she has solid grappling in her own right. And besides that, she's pretty feisty herself. We've seen she could get finishes. Give me the underdog, Zhang Weili. I've seen these odds go up as high as plus 110 and I'm loving it. Zhang Weili is the pick. And for our main event, we got Dricus du Plessis taking on Sean Strickland. And I think people forget, while it's not the biggest factor in scoring, cage control does matter. In their first fight, Dricus was the one marching forward, landing the bigger shots and dictating the pace. I don't get the hate Dricus gets. The guy just wins. Some fighters in the UFC just find a way no matter what. Guys like Merab, Bilal, and Dricus. It doesn't always have to be exciting, but winners win. And I think Dricus gets it done again. He has the finishing upside. He's proven he could go 5 rounds with Strickland. And it's hard not to back him here. Yeah, the odds aren't as appealing as last time. He's sitting at minus 200 right now. But that's why I'm not taking him straight up. Instead, I found a prop bet that gives way better value. I'm not sure if the sportsbook's messed up, but I'm getting a minus 175 prop at minus 125. And if you want access to that pick, hit the link down below, use code VIP for 50% off the monthly price, and get it instantly because I already dropped it in my chat when I found it. But the bottom line is, I think Dricus gets it done again, and Dricus will be the pick. And that will wrap up our quick picks and predictions for UFC 312. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Drop your picks down below. I'm the Ultimate Fighting Consultant, and I'll see you in the next one.